A warm welcome again to the conference, and hope you all enjoyed a good lunch, satiated your hunger for food well enough, and now we'll serve some nice food for thought. Not me, but the gentleman here, and it's my honor playing the moderator's role. So thank you very much, Uday. Thank you very much, Mahesh, for accepting our invitation and participating in this conference. And over the next, say, 20 odd minutes to half an hour, we'll have this fireside chat, which will also include hopefully some questions for you. So please come up with them and make the most of this session. The term disruption usually till a few years ago was used more had more of a negative connotation. I mean, strictly speaking, yes, it implies, and it has a negative connotation, but come to the automotive industry, the mobility industry, and across sectors actually. We are in an era where there are disruptions galore, and these are all positive, constructive disruptions. So in this session, we are going to understand one from two key stakeholders, one from the OEM side, not only an OEM, but someone who has a vision to kind of make more than just vehicles and sell them. Yeah. And then there is someone who believes in the India story so much, so that he came back, left a career in the Silicon Valley of about 2 decades or so, yes, to come back here and start something right from scratch. It's not inherited, but it's building something right from scratch. So that talks about the conviction and the promising nature of, in this case, the EV industry. So to start off with, because in almost every discussion around electrification or around the EV industry in India, one of the sore point is the lack of a really localized indigenous EV ecosystem. Okay. The vehicle may be built, assembled in India, but its content has to be truly indigenous. And while the EV ecosystem is getting built, the very fundamental stuff, the most fundamental component, the basic component, the most basic component of the most critical component in an EV, which is the battery, is the cell. And here is one player, entrepreneur, who is trying to address that issue and be really, localized. And it's good to know that Godi Energy is got a BIS certification, thereby making it one of the first, or the first cell manufacturer in India. So tell us in terms of what is the game plan, what is the roadmap that Godi Energy is envisioning for itself, and the industry should kind of strive towards, to have a really indigenous EV ecosystem, and in the process come up with some disruptive ideas also, and an opportunity for disruptive ideas also.
I think we have a lot of OEMs here. The 50% of the BOM cost is cell. And if you add 10%, you make a battery pack. So that's what the entire industry is struggling, the cell, right? So if I'm not using we, I'm using we, not I. If we manufacture the cell, Indian cell, that cater the Indian topical conditions, abusive conditions, and also road condition, then a lot of our problems for EV adaptation will be solved. So in that my journey from last 2.5 years here in India, we have done a phenomenal job, where we are the first in the country to manufacture the cell in India and certified by BIS. So that we done with phenomenally very well. But it's all about the scaling up and how the better cost we can give to the OEMs. See, it's all about, again, materials, right? We don't have a lot of materials available in India. See, how we can do the localization. See, in the materials point of view, we are working at very nano materials level, also helping 25 different Indian companies to get into the different kinds of battery component local manufacturing. At the same time, we also bringing almost 5 a global well-known material supply chain companies back to India, because India is going to be the second largest after China for the EV and stationary storage. Insane opportunity, but we all need to work together to make it happen at fast and at scale. Otherwise, India is never going to be an energy independent nation. We are celebrating 75 years of our independence, but still we are not there yet. That's a problem for the country, and we all need to sit together and understand the problem really well and solve the problem. And there are a lot of new technologies are coming, so a lot of new players are
I
coming
have to
there.
ask you questions on technologies and battery technology. Come to that again. But good to know that you are looking at scaling up fast and also meeting the demand with some, Indian cost levels. So not only scale, you have to afford scale, but at the Indian cost and global quality, right?
Yes.
So we'll discuss that more in details. Uday, when you say disruption happens in terms of technology, in terms of product disruptions, right? You have started off your journey with now largely three-wheelers, which is not really a disruptive product as a concept. Yes, you are offering good range, and good to know that you are climbing up the ladder in terms of your ranking in the L5 category. So good to know about that. But in terms of product disruption, what is the scope you see that this electrification era also kind of makes it more conducive, let's say, to have product disruptions?
Thank you very much. And I'm a big fan of yours. So anytime you ask me to come and speak, I'd love to come and say, look, I think I said earlier, I'm an environmentalist in a suit. My Wall Street days are long over. But I think we started the three-wheeler journey to prove to ourselves that we could do it. But I think that the disruption that is coming with electrification, I think, you've seen the three-wheelers and the two-wheelers, and it's interesting to see that 51% of vehicles in three-wheelers are already electric, a lot faster than anybody expected. Two-wheelers, without a shadow of a doubt, in the next 5 years, going to be 85%. But I think what we find interesting now is to go up the food chain in terms of trucks. And we are building 1.5, 3.5, 6.5 ton. I just came back from Thailand, my R&D center this morning. And, we've done 350 kilometers with 15 ton on a single charge. We are working in Korea and in India with tractors. We see this country where our plot sizes are very small. And we have these huge tractors. And if you look at the tractor demand, some of the companies, some of the big OEMs are only surviving because of tractors. Again, I'm a numbers guy. I look at the numbers closely. And I think that we are coming out tractors on a lease where our farming community can hire smaller tractors in electric. You see many states where electricity is free. We are building products for the farming industry in terms of transportation, logistics. So I think the disruption in this space is so immense. Now, I think I keep saying to everyone, we've got to build the ecosystem, the battery players, the charging infrastructure. I think India has an opportunity to be one of the most largest EV parts manufacturing. And I think disruption is going to come across the table. And I think, whether it is three-wheelers, two-wheelers, four-wheelers, tractors, working with UAVs and EVs together, drone technology and EVs together. We are working right now, you talk about disruption, it's not about the three-wheeler, it's about a vehicle, right? We could do it with four-wheelers. In the agriculture sector, pesticide, when you put the pesticide, usually people are throwing it. And there are a couple of problems with that. Number one, the person that is doing this.
Yeah, it may not be uniform.
You may not be uniform. And I think that leads to, we think eating green food is good. But if it's too much pesticide, that's hurting us. So seeing EV will disrupt. And whether it's green energy or blue energy, believe you me, disruption's coming. And I'm definitely going to be part of that. Maza usi mein hai, for me.
Indeed. I'm sure, from if what you're doing is any indication so far, I'm sure there'll be more interesting stories to come out of OSM. So,
Thank you.
You talked about the EV parts industry, the component industry. There's a report which projects that the industry scope, the industry size, is expected to reach a tune of about 72,500 crore by maybe about in another 5 years, from less than 4,500 crore last financial year. Big opportunity, and in that whole pie, the battery share of battery and battery-related components could be to the tune of 60%. Big opportunity with it. So, if you look at that as the energy source, in terms of the energy source in the electrification industry, so what's the kind of composition do you expect in terms of technology? And could there be some new disruptive ideas around the corner which could perhaps make the current workhorse and the most favorite technology, lithium-ion, seem a little not so competitive now in the coming years, maybe near future?
In terms of the technology, a lot of innovations are happening across the world for the cell level. So
that they are without a doubt in the R&D labs. But what I'm asking is close to commercialization, or maybe at the trial level.
I'll get to that. So we are working on a technology that where we can increase the longevity of vehicle almost 30% more. So that kind of innovations happening immediate. We want to launch a product next month. And the end of the year, we are launching one more product that can increase the longevity of your charge, because it's all about the powertrain and regenerative braking and all these things are there. So how we can increase the longevity? That's one of the technologies going to come, where vehicles can self-charge itself. That's what the opportunity there for two-wheelers, three-wheelers, for anything. The vehicle can recharge itself. That's going to be happen very fastly. That's going to be one of the disturbance going to happen in this ecosystem.
I just want to add one thing. Sorry, Sumantra. Yeah. I think one of the biggest problems of EV, and this is something that I want to pick up from that one point, is financing. Okay, if I have a huge demand, every vehicle needs to be financed. If we can give security of battery, so people say, what is the resale value, right? If you can give longevity to the battery side, to the powertrain and the vehicle, I think financing will be available. So in order to build the ecosystem, so building products for the long term, I would reach out to all of you guys out there and girls out there that are in the parts manufacturer. Work towards it. You all will make a lot of money if you can do this, not just for India, but don't think only about India. Make in India for the global. So this is a very important point.
Make in India for the globe. This actually, in a way, the electrification megatrend is also it's a great leveler in a way. Be it in the Western world or in this part of the world, almost all industry players are more or less still in the learning phase. No one has a edge over the rest by margin of decades, like in the ICE vehicle. So therefore, does it give players like OSM, for example, an opportunity to really have a truly global play. I'm not saying global play in terms of just having some presence in some export markets. No, I'm not talking about that. Truly global play of with products and technology of a global standards.
Sumantra, that's exactly how, if you look at what we have done, and I think not about talking the talk, but walking the walk. Bangladesh, Philippines, Indonesia, Tanzania, UAE, Saudi, Chile, Peru. I mean, I think there's an opportunity. Look, what I do believe is in the next 5 years, there are going to be the big boys and girls, but I think couple of us are going to be in there. And I think in a global play, if you do your homework, I think I'm the only one who's doing international even now. And I think there is an opportunity, and I keep saying this, it's not all about OSM, it's about building the ecosystem, and all of you out there can have an opportunity. Abhi sirf trailer shuru hua hai, movie to shuru hi nahi hui. So I think all of you have a chance, all of you have an opportunity, and what will be interesting, and what I'm going to be really excited, we had this lunch, and all, you have Mahindra and Tata, and I mean, we could even aspire to even look at them. But today, I like to make them a little bit uncomfortable. And if they can build better products, then the consumer wins. So I think a global play for a lot of people, not just OSM. And I think, in the parts manufacturing, in the batteries, in the powertrains, this is a global marketplace. And I think India, this is India's time. I keep talking for the last few years, India first. I think we have a chance. We have the people. We have the energy. We have the technology. If all of our leaders can go become CEOs and owners of big companies, why can't they do it here? And I see a lot of young men and women, and few of us in the gray hair. We can do it. So I think absolutely, and I really hope, Sumantra, that when I talk to you every few months, every 6 months, you see me doing it. Otherwise, I don't think you'd even invite me. You're a very strong man.
Indeed, right. And I think you are, so far, your track record has been quite good, and wishing you and your team all the very best.
Thank you.
Now, everything is moving faster, swifter, including product development, and therefore technology evolution also. And in this conference, we are talking about virtual technologies, simulation. So how are you leveraging that as an enabler to kind of help you not only do things which traditionally have is being done in the industry, but also to meet this need to kind of move swiftly, or maybe swifter than before?
See, now, any product development, any industry, the cycle life is dramatically reduced. A lab to a manufacturing can be happen where we can do some innovation in that process. Definitely simulation will help in that. And now VR and AR are coming, and where they're virtually seeing how the vehicle looks like, right? So with the new technology adaptation, along with the simulation and virtual reality, that will make things under product life cycle development will accelerate. But there will be always, we need to do the physical test. It's just a Moore's law. So we have enough computing power and data harness where 10 years back we are not able to do it. Now we can do it much efficient way, and we have that computing power and storage power and harnessing algorithms and everything. This all together putting the product go-to-market will be going to happen very fastly. That's what the simulation play a very critical role in that. I'm a computer science engineer, and I'm telling that I worked at data and algorithms and work in Wall Street as well. So that plays a very critical role in go-to-market strategy.
So you're saying virtual technologies is set or will play an even more crucial role than it is today in the overall scheme of things, right?
Yes.
No, when you talk about disruption, there is vehicle, there is technology, but then another key, a very crucial part is manufacturing. I believe you have already lined up some concepts in terms of having some disruption on there. So can you give us some sneak peek into how kind of how much of a difference, how much of a disruptive idea could be kind of thought for the manufacturing part of the whole pie, and what kind of benefits can be derived out of that?
See, especially any manufacturing, I'm talking about cell manufacturing, he's talking about vehicle manufacturing. We are in the world where we don't need much humans to manufacture the things, right? That's one of the things which we are working for the cell manufacturing, where we are reinventing entire manufacturing process of the cell without cutting down the 50% of the footprint of the factory and zero toxic chemicals. So that's what we are fundamentally doing in that way. And also, the automation plays a very critical role. And currently, we have talking cell manufacturing at 240 ppm line, like 240 cells per minute you can manufacture. It's just like bottling a can, bottling a water bottle. So that is what the technology we have access, and also in terms of the manufacturing of the electric vehicle also, you see the vehicle coming out from any plant is going to be not tens or hundreds, it's going to be in thousands per minute. That's what I'm envisioning over the period of next 2 years.
Yeah, and Uday, I mean, you have recently inaugurated a plant in Pune, and in your plants, if not the one which you inaugurated, but the upcoming ones, are you kind of going to thinking of any new concept or any kind of ideas which will not only enhance overall efficiency, but also perhaps contribute towards a lesser carbon footprint and yes, very key part in enhance the profitability also.
Sumantra, you're not keeping up with me. Pune was about a month and a half ago, just recently, I opened up another plant in Faridabad, and I want to tell you this, I'll invite you to it. Even the charging infrastructure, the entire plant is solar, okay? So I've already moved to that step. I'm not doing the talk. So I'm set, that whole plant is going to run on solar. So I am going to work on reducing our carbon footprint even now. You know, obviously manufacturing 4.0, using, artificial intelligence and IoT, working with robotics, all of this is coming up. Now, I think in terms of carbon footprint, I am going to tell you, I am already, my latest Faridabad facility, which I opened 2.5 weeks ago, that is already zero carbon footprint. The entire plant is solar run. I am working towards other technologies. Omega has 14 plants in this country. I moved everything to, CNG, solar. I want to get off all of this, and I request, nobody in this country, I know we come to these conferences and we say we want to be green, and we walk out there and we forget about it. I would tell you, every one of you have a responsibility. Get off IC, get on electric, get on hydrogen. Every one of you, whether it's a scooter or a three-wheeler or a four-wheeler, or even it's a bicycle, it's our duty to our kids and your kids' kids. Listen, you can make your kids highly educated. I feel, and I know time is up, we all feel proud. My son went to Wharton and my kid did this, and I became an engineer. But if all of us are in hospitals, they're going to mean nothing. And you can all become unicorns, but we got to be taking this air in this country. So think about this, guys. Start acting, run it closer to the heart. And this is all I got to say. Thank you very much.
Very well said there. But talking about carbon footprint, like in all progressive organizations, almost it's becoming a necessity, and all responsible citizens and at the organization level, everyone has kind of set a goal, target to reach the end objective of carbon neutrality. At OSM also, have you identified a target yet?
Absolutely. 2035, I have to be. I'm not waiting for COP26, 2070. I'll be gone by then, my friend. I don't know, you'll still be here, but I'll be gone long then. I want to make sure that when I'm on this planet, I can make a difference. At OSM, we will do it. We are making sure, not only just at OSM, but all of our suppliers, we are now starting to talk to them, and I know a lot of the other players here at the bigger companies are working towards it. I heard Reliance has got a 2035 target. So this is great. I think all of us have to make sure. See, 2070 is good, but I think we've all got to start making a difference. And it means to everyone, not just the bigger companies, but OSM, yes, absolutely.
Exactly, and no, as you said, no, I mean, while 2070 has been set as a goal for the entire country, but the sooner we reach that goal, the better for everyone. So on that note, we have reached the end of the discussion part of this chat, but very important to have some questions from the audience as well. So can a mic reach the gentleman who has raised a hand?
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, I see a lot of automation, and I heard manufacturing, both of you are working on automating things and trying to be more electrification. And recently I heard in US they have started the semiconductor as a one concern they have raised, saying $100 billion they will be investing from government. And when it comes to India, you guys being in the front face for all these industries, what is that happening within India about semiconductors? Because so much of controls and ECUs will be increased to maintain the automation, whether in the vehicle or in the manufacturing unit or anywhere you go, you need a lot of semiconductors. Being an industrialist, what is your call on this to the government of India, and what is happening there from Indian perspective?
I'll take then. So, see, we lose the semiconductor opportunity 10 years back. It went to other South Asian countries, but now no more. And post-COVID, post-war, all the decentralization is happening. So you see last 6 months, lot of announcements happen. India is going to manufacture the semiconductors, and that's going to happen mostly in Karnataka. That's where the announcements came. But it's a cycle. It will take another 1 year, 2 years. We are well equipped with what we're missing out in all our automation or in EVs and other sectors. But we are going to do it. It's all about time. Yeah.
So you don't have any concerns today within your industries that semiconductor is a concern? We here, I work with Volvo Group, and we do see a lot of issues. I mean, not only Volvo, a lot of other OEMs might be seeing the same thing. How about you guys being in India, specifically working in India? How's your situation in terms of semiconductors?
No, the same like you. There is no difference between you and us, and everybody is on the same page. It's all about how we can fastly get into that in India. Let's make the big difference. That already the things are happening at fast. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
One question, since you're closer to the mic, the gentleman in the red shirt.
So I'm Krish from Waptec. My question is just zooming out from beyond electric, beyond the automotive, to Uday maybe. Uday, do you see, what other areas do you see where electrification can go big time? Like household products, for example. So do you have a vision on exploring those markets as well and expanding into those markets apart from just automotive?
Look, I'm a green man. So yes, we think that, this is a really, really very important point. You're seeing Elon do this. Tesla's moving into, home, where you can have, energy that can be actually sold back to the grid. We are doing this at our factories already, right? We are putting solar and doing it. Look, I have honestly enough of my plate at this moment. I'm in Thailand in the morning and I'm in another country in the afternoon, in the evening. And so I think for me, if I can just, and we've got big players here. I mean, we've got Tata and Mahindra and Ashok Leyland here who are putting, when I see we're hiring 4,000 engineers, I got enough on my plate to keep up even halfway with these guys, and I'm an old man, So I think, but I will tell everyone, that if there are areas that you guys are interested, and I will say this clearly, if you look, the next 1,000 unicorns are going to come from the green and sustainability energy space. This game of Paytm and all this bakwas is over. You see the stock prices. I looked at stock prices of all of these, e-commerce companies. Boy, they've hammered all the investors bad. My point is, all of you, it doesn't matter what age, what time, if you have the skill, get involved with this space. I'm happy to talk to you. I'm happy to connect you to the network of people. And if you help green energy and sustainability, I'm with you. And so I think, but at the moment, I got to focus, mate. I got enough going on the plate.
Thank you. And there, you have got an offer. I think it's not a limited period offer, is it? Or it's there for quite some time?
Yes, absolutely. I totally agree.
Okay, great. Last question, if there is one. Yeah, from this side of the room, please.
Hi, Uday. I have a question to you. I'm Lokesh from Simple Energy. You said that you are a green man. I'll start by saying that I think EVs are cleaner than IC engine vehicles, but not greener. Because a lot of carbon footprint is there when we are manufacturing an electric vehicle, and actually it's higher than an IC engine equivalent, mainly because of the batteries. The ores are the manufacturing, the metals, rubber, plastics, everything. So since at 0 kilometer, EVs carbon footprint is higher than IC engines, it takes some good amount of kilometers to even reach that breakpoint, and after that only you are cleaner than an IC engine equivalent and not greener. So since you're saying that you think about the environment and not only the EVs, it's sort of a superset, how do you sort of address that? Because we need to think about the initial carbon footprint also, and then we have to ensure that we reduce that significantly. But otherwise, at least I feel that we are always cleaner and never greener.
Very, 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 very good question, and you're absolutely right, mate. It bothers me. But I'll tell you one thing, mate. Rome wasn't built in one day. You know, you got to take brick by brick. And I'll be honest with you, this journey, this step forward with a government, and I'm absolutely apolitical, but the amount of effort, you know, EVs are not too long, mate. It hasn't been too long. And I think the support, somebody asked over lunch, do you depend on government subsidy? I don't. Because if anybody who builds a business on government subsidy, they're SOL. And I think that my point to you is you're absolutely right. We as a community of EV, whether it's green energy or blue energy, we need to start working towards making sure that the carbon footprint, whether it's at the factories, whether it's with the plastic, whether it's whatever, we all got to work. I was just with, you know, before this, I was with the chairman of Virya, Sandeep Ji, and he said they have now made a company policy where every part of the packaging, right, whether it's plastic, whether it's paper, that there is reduction every year. So I think as a community, as a group, we've all got to work together. And I think that, you know, I think the momentum is there. I think in India specifically, in Europe and other countries, you know, people are more conservative. They're more conscious of this. We've got to start making it at the grassroots level, that this, you know, at the MSME, at the SME level, that this starts happening. I would request, and I'm reaching out to the governments, that we need to do more on that space. So I think, look, we are not there, and you are raising a valid point, and I think those points have to be addressed. I will say, you know, you got to start somewhere. If you don't start somewhere, and if you look at the way this planet is going, mate, I mean, I think we don't have a choice. We already are too late. Now, I'm not saying EV is the solution to everything. It could be hydrogen. It could be other things. And I think this is where, you know, our good friend at Mahindra was saying, the technology is changing so fast, right? So when you make investments like us, well, how do I get my IRR? So that's a difficult question. But I think the move is there. We all got to step. I'll, for one reason, if you know, I'm a big football fan, and in Liverpool they say, you know, you'll never walk alone. If I have to walk alone, mate, I'll walk. And if you want to join me anytime, please come. Thank you.
Indeed, right, as you said, EV is not the only technology, but at this point of time, it is the, I would say, most matured, more matured than the other potential, other promising technology. Therefore, it is at the forefront, and indeed, efforts need to be made to really make it not only cleaner, but really green, as the gentleman there also mentioned, and I'm sure efforts are there on that front also from all stakeholders. So on that note, interesting fireside chat it was for me, but I hope it's the same for you as well. And gentlemen, thank you very much for your participation.
Thank you.
And indeed, once again, appreciate your participation, and it was my pleasure and honor to be the moderator for this fireside chat, and over to you.
Thank you.